Moses began to lead the people, a whole multitude of folks, on the journey toward freedom. He wanted his people to be free, but he didn't want to be the leader. I understand how that feels. And he had spent some time with God, and he knew exactly what the people needed to do. Just because you know what people need to do doesn't mean you are motivated to get it done. Neither does it mean that you are supremely confident that somehow the Lord is going to come through for you. I don't know that there's anybody, unless you're operating in what we call the gift of faith, and that happens not that often. All of us have faith, and it is a gift, but we're talking about a special, like a turbo boost of faith. Is what that gift does. That you have absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Nothing it gets in there. It's airtight. It's watertight. And you can believe for the most absolutely impossible things, like it's saying, give me a piece of bread or something. And it comes upon a person and it goes off. Most of the time, we do not operate in the gift of faith. We trust God based on what His Word says, our experience with Him. But there's always that little aroma of doubt that just tries to come in and mess with our minds with that. We are human beings. But Moses sounds extremely confident here when he says in the book of Exodus chapter 14, beginning actually at verse 13, it says here, and as soon as that kind of processes itself through, we'll see it. Praise the Lord. All right. Here it comes. Beginning at verse 13, the scripture says, and Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which He will work for you today. He moves on and says, for the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. He was speaking boldly when he said it too. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Or in some of your Bibles it says to be still. All right? I don't think there was background music was quite like that when Moses was more tension-packed. Thank you, that was a good try. To do that kind of music, but there's probably more tension going on, more drama on that one. So we'll try next Sunday. Your mind is off. All right. I asked you before, what would you think or feel if someone continued to ask you for what you had already promised you were going to give them? Remember how your kids just keep asking for stuff, you told them you're going to give it to them, and they just keep doing it? The reasonable answer is that you'd be disappointed at the very least, all right? Or irritated at worst. Worse, when what that person is saying to you is that I'm not really confident you're going to give me what I want, so I'm going to keep on. Isn't that sickening? Keep on asking you. Well, God was disappointed and irritated with Israel. They made their way out of bondage. Now remember, 430 years total for them being in Egypt and 400 years of bondage. That has to have messed with their minds in generational ways. If a generation is 40 years, 10 generations went by. You can get so steeped into a rut in that time, collectively can get that way, that you just can't hear good news well. I mean, Moses even tried to show that he was going to deliver the people. He tried to break up a couple of guys. I think it was an Egyptian that was beating on a slave, and he killed the Egyptian and dug a hole and put him in the ground. And he thought the word would get around. Man, we got somebody who fight for us. So the next day he sees two Israelites fighting with each other. And he says, hey, you're brothers. Why are you doing this? And they backed off from him and said, you going to kill us like you killed that Egyptian? That's bad. And it shocked Moses. Well, he'd taken things into his own hands. So he realized he better get out of here because he had killed an Egyptian and the word had gotten out. Word on the street, Moses killed an Egyptian, right? So he took off and ran away. And, you know, that's enough to really mess with you. And that's the kind of thinking, you know, I understand their thinking. Man, you around here killing folk and you're going to kill us now? All they had known was bad news. Well, when God was ready to move, and hear this, when God is ready to move, he's ready for you to move. When God is getting you ready, he's not expecting you to do anything in particular. He just wants you to get prepared. But when you sense him, when he starts sweeping through, and you know when God starts sweeping it through your life, you know it. Either you get angry or you get scared or you try to act like you didn't hear him. He starts sweeping manifestly through your life. You can't just stand there and talk about you got a lot of get up and go and never act like Duke, never get up and went, right? That's bad English, but he never got up and went. You got to move when God is ready to move. There was no reasonable excuse for these people. Since he's shown Moses so many miracles. We went over those miracles last time before he even got back to the land of Canaan. And then he was showing him with Aaron's rod. He threw his own staff down. Threw his staff down. It becomes a snake. That would have been enough for me for the rest of my life to know God was moving. But it's not enough. We're human. God has moved for you before. Come on now, God has moved for you before. Several times he's done some things and you said, if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, where in the world would I be? But a few days and weeks and months and years begin to pass, and the power of it, you remember it most of the time, but the power of it begins to fade away, and you wonder if what is happening now, I'm going to make up a word, is more impossibler than the thing that happened before. All right? More impossibler than the thing that happened before. He's done the impossible for you, but then something that seems even more impossible. There is no such thing as one thing being more impossible than another. Impossible really actually means you can't get any more impossible than impossible. But you know how we are. We're like that. And we come up with all kinds of excuses. Then the Lord began to sweep through Israel with all kinds of notable miracles. I mean, there was gnats, and then there was darkness. And then I'm not getting it in order. And there was blood, and there was frogs, and there was darkness. There was 10 plagues, and not one of them touched the people of Israel. Not one. They were in the land of Goshen, where darkness was everywhere. It must have been really something to see darkness right outside the city limits. To look at it and say, there's darkness over there. And nothing but sunshine where you are. That doesn't happen like that. But he did it for Israel. How many miracles do you need to see? There's a song that says, what more can he say than to you he has said? What more can God do for you than he's already done? How many of you looked at yourself in the mirror today? Thank God you did. But just think about it. How did you do that? You didn't think about it. You just went and looked. You know how many things had to go on inside of your brain and your body for that, and for you to recognize who it is? Sadly, my own father, in the middle of his dementia, well, maybe toward the end, he would go to the mirror and think there was a friend of his. He'd look in the mirror and smile and keep talking to the guy. My mother had to cover up all the mirrors in the house. He looked and did not know it was him. That's no worse than some of us. First of all, the miracle of being able to recognize, to be self-aware, and to know your reflection, we just take this stuff for granted. So many amazing things happen in this human body and outside of it and around it that we're just desensitized. We are jaded at the glory of what God is doing. Every day. Your ability to even say amen is miraculous. And we say, well, I don't know whether God's going to fill in the blank. I think God had never done anything for me. How can you even call yourself me if there was no me for God to make for you to be you? That's a miracle enough. Yet he does. He blesses us with grace beyond measure every second of every day. But it's not really enough for us human beings. We need something else. And so I understand it. I'm not rebuking us. That's just the way we're made. And they saw those amazing, mighty miracles and began to murmur when something more impossibler took place at the Red Sea. I understand it. Wouldn't you be kind of freaked out? I'm trying to act spiritual now. Would you have been, you standing there at the Red Sea, mountain on this side, mountains on that side, Egyptians without number kicking up dust so high you almost can't see them, barreling toward you, and God says, go cross that. That's not a cartoon, y'all. That happened. That happened. That was reality. So I'm not going to get too hard on them because I'd be nervous myself. God had shown Moses all these miracles and shown the children of Israel all these different miracles. But the problem is we get stuck. We get stuck. And that's a problem. The children of Israel had just been delivered, as I said, from the strong, oppressive hand of Pharaoh. God, with mighty hand, delivered them out of Egypt, the land of slavery and of oppression. They started their journey toward the land of promise. We're going to the promised land. They were talking much trash. We need to go into the desert. And Pharaoh said, I'm not going to let you go. He said, well, you better let us go because God says he's going to be a problem if you don't let us go. And finally, with all these miracles and curses that came down on Egypt, and it hit even the Pharaoh's firstborn son, he said, that's it, you can go. Well, they went out and decided, okay, now what are we going to do? One deliverance leads to another trial, from one experience to another. God says he wants us to move from faith, what? To faith. Really to, come on, faith to faith to faith. Why you need faith? Because what you need to do is something that goes beyond your ability to actually see. And it's going to be doing that all your life. But guess what? God's going to be blessing you all your life too. It's all according to how you look at it. All right? We don't appreciate stuff until God does something really special. Well, they marched only a few days and suddenly seemed to be stopped in the journey. The Bible records that they were encamped. Now, before them was the great Red Sea. On the either side of them, like I said, was a mountain, and behind them was Pharaoh and his army closing in fast. On the surface, it seems like these things are completely hopeless. They were hopelessly trapped. For all practical purposes, there was no way out. You ever been in a situation you just say, there is no way out of this one right here. I'm going to have to face the music today. This, I don't think I'll ever really be able to get over this. So in the midst of the chaos and the confusion, the people of Israel came to Moses. Just think about it. You just got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. All right? He had 1 million, 2 million people screaming, yelling, hollering, getting hysterical. And they sent representatives and said, man, what you gonna do? Look. It must have been quite a different distance off, but they saw him. They saw him in the distance, barreling toward them. What are we going to do? Look at what you just did. Then you start reminiscing about all the good old days. Dude, the good old days was slavery. You were crying out in your bondage, you remember? And somehow now they were the good old days. It's phenomenal how worse days can make these bad days look like good old days. And we should have appreciated them, you know? Well, they came to Moses crying out to him. Moses said he didn't want to go. I don't want to do this. I feel you, Moses. I feel you, bruh. Because I didn't want to do this for a living. This was the last, no, it wasn't even on my list. It was not even on my list of things to do in life. And there are times in the middle of it I go, Lord, I'll just think this so you won't hear me think it. I told you I didn't want to do this in the first place. They're out there crying out to him, saying, what we gonna do? Why do we get so stuck? Well, Exodus 14, verse 15, the second part of verse 15 says this. Could you read that? Tell the people of Israel to go forward. Now, wait. Forward means cross that big old expanse of water. Now, certainly he wasn't going to tell them to go backwards. They have no weapons. He didn't say go to the left or the right. Now, there was a moment at which he could have told them to go one way or the other, but it would have been the long way around. Actually, they would have gotten to the promised land a little shorter, but the problem also was that there are other armies out there who were and they weren't trained to fight. Well, Pastor Greg, they're standing in front of the greatest army of all times, Egypt. That's like the American Army, Marines, Air Force, and Navy, Coast Guard, Reserve, and all the rest of them coming at you at one time. That's how it felt to them. And he says, go that way. Now, it's pretty easy. It seems like impossible to do it. But he's asking them to do something impossible. They certainly weren't going to go that way. There are times in your life when the options can be bad, worse, stupid, and dumb. Dumb and dumber. The only choices you got is bad, all right? This is bad, all right? Choose this one. But he makes it clear to you what you need to do after a while. He does. Remember 4 lepers. They were outside of the gate of Israel. They had been sent out there. I'm sure everybody in there loved these folks, but they had something on them that they did not want. And it's almost like over the wall they said, don't take it personal. You know how when you have some contagious something and somebody tells you they got it, you go, yeah, you over it. Yeah, I believe you are over it. Stand over there. You know, this is nothing personal. Here they are starving to death. Behind them is the enemy's army. In front of them is Israel. They said, we're getting ready to die. We got 3 good reasons why we're going to die. Either we will sit here and die. Yes, Siri. Either we're going to stand here and die, or the enemy behind us is going to kill us. Or if we go up there to that wall, they're going to throw rocks down on us. You have no good choices. This happens in life, y'all. All right, thank God nothing that extreme. But one guy was really brilliant. He sat there and says, dying of leprosy, that is a slow, long process. I'm hungry. They're not going to feed us over there in Israel. But you just never know. These guys over here might have pity on us, the enemy. You know, they have all those rules about leprosy. I'm sure they don't like it, but maybe they see us coming, they'll run, and we go get some food. Why sit here? Whose Kool-Aid am I stirring? Why sit here till we die? We thought they were so brave. Listen, they were going to die anyway. But in a tight situation with a bad choice, a worse choice, and a really stupid choice, God will show you which one of these dumb choices to make. Because sometimes you don't have a lot of good options. But he will make it so that you realize these over here are really, really, really bad. I better choose this way. And he's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it to bless you. I know it sounds dumb. He's doing it to bless you. There are times when you have to make a hard choice. And that hard choice is an illusion. These people decided they're going to go to the Aramean, I think it was the Aramean camp. And come to find out, them people done run. They ran away. And there was all this food. And so these guys lived. What are you going to do to live? God doesn't always tell you to do the nice, easy thing. Mm-hmm. Tell the people of Israel to do what? Go forward. Say it loud. Go forward. This was a very, very tense time, and God meant business. And when he says move, you better move. Now notice the last two words of verse 15. We noticed it already. When Moses went to the Lord and asked him what he wanted him to tell the people, the Lord told them, go forward. They were facing this water. Go forward. Makes no sense. The word forward carries the idea of advancement. It carries the idea of progress. Even though it doesn't look like progress, it's progress if God tells you to do it. All right? It means to pull up, especially like the tent pegs, and start on a journey. You have been stuck here long enough. It's time to move on. Now, that's not a word to you in your bad marriage. Put it this way, not necessarily so. There are scriptural reasons. Most of the reasons are not scriptural, I'm guessing, why people walk away from marriages just because you're having a bad patch. All right? But again, don't take that, ooh, God spoke. Listen, I'm just talking in general. I ain't talking to you. Sometimes it's just time to go. All right? I'll leave that alone. You've been sitting in that problem for so long. You are scared to go back to school. Are you scared to face life on your own? Are you scared to break off some kind of a friendship that really ain't one, tell the truth? Afraid. You've been stuck here too long. It's time to move on. Now, but going forward means, for them, it meant certain death by drowning. Now you got to choose your poison. Either I'm going to drown or these people are going to be sticking things inside my body. I take drown, I'll take drown. See, I'm telling you, you got a lot of hard choices. Take the less terrible one. All of it's terrible. But if God told you to do it, he's not an agent of suicide. He's wanting to show you something. Now, God has already shown them that he can do some powerful stuff. We just need to remember. Certain death by drowning was right in front of them. The problem is that staying where they were meant even more certain and more painful death. Now, I'm feeling these people. We get on their cases like we some great monuments of faith. They should know by now you're in church. Why don't they know you're in church? Check mine again. What is both interesting and puzzling about verse 15 is actually the first part of the verse, not so much the second part. Notice the surprising thing that God says to Moses. Now, this is what he says to Moses. Read that out loud with me. Go ahead. The Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me?" Does that confuse you? If it doesn't confuse you, you forgot what I said just 10 minutes ago. Moses was standing and said, stand still. The Lord is going to fight for you today. You see these Egyptians, you will never see them again. And then the verse says, Moses, why are you crying out to me? Huh? We don't see anything that Moses says to God. He must not have said it out loud. In his head, he's going, feet don't fail me now. Lord, now I believe you, but I just don't believe me. It's not me, it's you. It's not you, it's me. He must have been saying something in his head because God wouldn't have wasted time saying, Moses, why are you crying out? I don't know what cry he was making. Maybe he's saying, God, do something today, now. They're going to kill me. I don't know what happened. It's a very mysterious section of a verse. He said, be silent. The Lord is going to work. Then God says, why you, Moses, why are you crying? You ever stepped out in big time faith? You know, and everybody else says, oh man, they got confidence and you are scared to death. You don't know what to do. In marriages, that happens a lot, especially with the husband. He knows what he's going to do. And they're going back and forth. They are talking and discussing and, as people say, conversating. There's no such word, conversing. All right, I'm trying to help you. All right. They're conversing. Say conversing. You're still going to say conversate. I don't know why I'm wasting my time. All right, you're going to look it up now. Now go on your computer and you're looking it up while I'm talking. You can say it if you want to. All right. And then you start arguing about it. Debating and then finally arguing. And then, you know, the guy pulls his joker card out, his ace, and says, yeah, but I'm the leader. And let me tell you what will throttle a guy. Let me tell you what will throttle. I hate to tell. I'm sorry, guys. I got to tell it. I'm stuck here. They're looking at me. They want to answer. You know what will stop a guy in his tracks? Not all that yelling, hogging, and arguing, and being smart and doing verbal manipulation. No. Just say, look at him like this. You're the leader. I trust you. That's all you got to do. You see, it was so simple, it went right across your head. It didn't sound powerful enough for you ladies. I'm telling you, you're the leader. I trust you. And just leave it right there. And then drop the mic. And walk away. I'm trying to tell you, you're not going to do this. You're not going to try it. But I'm telling you, every time that woman tried that on me, I went, Urgh! Now, what did you say one more time? What did you say? Come on, tell me one more time what you said. But what was your choice? What? Now, help me now. See, he will listen. One thing he knows, get it wrong. Just get it wrong. I ain't going to say nothing when you get it wrong, man. I'm just going to look at you. Because I'm in the same boat. You drilling a hole in the boat, and you saying this is the way to get across the river. You have to drill a big hole in the boat. I'm going to stand here and watch you while we drown. Won't that kind of back you up, dude? Want to make you think about it? At times, almost makes you want to do what she's suggested, so when it fails, yeah, see, I told you we should have done the other. See, it kind of makes you want to do it her way. But if you fight, I'm sorry, this is just the way it is. You can be mad about it. If you push at a guy, he is going to push back. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm just a newsman. I'm telling you, push me, I'm gonna apply pressure back at you. It's in the DNA. In the fall of man, we just do that. The first time that happened, we cooperated with y'all and we ate the fruit. And so it's in there, man. It's like ragu. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, you don't like that, do you? You don't like that, do you? Mm-hmm. The first time. Sometimes this job is so much fun. All right. No. I remember the first time. There's somewhere down in there. But, okay, that was just a little, I didn't even charge you for that one. I'm just trying to help you. Moses, why are you crying out to me? Now, Moses, it seems, was outwardly confident but inwardly anxious. This is to be understood, man. The sea was against him. The Egyptian army was against him. Now his own people were crying out against him. He didn't ask for the job, as I said in the first place. Here we are. Many of us are stationary when God wants us to be making progress. We're planning and we're scheduling and we're doing everything but moving. Now, you can get into trouble by moving too fast, too. You know that. But when it's time to move, you need to get to moving. We're stationary. We are camped out at the edge of opportunity because of at least one of the following. And I'm going to be expanding on these in time to come. I'm pretty much listing them this time. We're close to closing. But here's some of the reasons why we get stuck right at the edge and afraid to go forward. Hurt feelings is one. Somebody hurt my feelings. I'll never love again. There's a song by the Carpenters. They used to be my favorite group back in the, 70s, 80s, 70s. You know, so for at least until tomorrow, I'll never fall in love again. You remember that? I'll never fall in love. Don't tell me what it's all about. I've been there and I'm glad I'm out. And said, well, at least she said, so for at least until tomorrow, I'll never fall in love again. My feelings got hurt. I don't want to move forward. Some people get stuck. We'll expand on these as we go later. Anger. I'm mad. I'm angry. That's why I ain't doing anything. I'm mad. I'm mad at the world. I'm just going to stand right here. Y'all hurt me. You disappointed me. I'm angry, so I'm not moving forward. I'm bitter. Bitterness is probably 2 steps away from depression. Hate to use that word because some people understand it. Most of us don't. You were shocked and disappointed. You got angry. Anger was not solved, and it becomes bitterness. You have a bitter taste in your mouth. And if you don't deal with that, it begins to turn inside and become a depression where anger is turned inside out. Not out here because you didn't get it resolved. It turns around and comes inside, and it begins to eat away at your soul. I'm not talking like somebody who's ever experienced it. I don't understand it. But I do. I have deep respect. I'm very careful to say that I'm depressed. Are you kidding? I don't have the credentials to say that. Bitterness. Then there's apathy. I just don't care. I don't care. You know what? You cared at one time. You were disappointed. Now you're trying to act like things don't bother you anymore. So I don't need anything, and you just stand still. You're stuck. Here's another one. Here's a nice one. You want a nice one? You want a bad one or a nice one? Nice one. Comfort. I'm comfortable. You know, it's okay. I don't have to do anything more. Everything is cool. It's all right. God says, come on. He says, no, I'm comfortable. Some of y'all lie and say, I don't want to be rich. You're lying. You're lying. I just want to be. Hey, man, if you're comfortable, you're rich. All right? I don't care how much. Don't put $1 on it. If you're comfortable, you feel like your life is enriched and you don't want to go any further. God likes comfort, but he hates the comfort zone. I'm scared to move out because my comfort's going to leave me. The Zimbabwe group, they're going deliberately choosing to be uncomfortable, to go and just simply love on people. We care about you, and we're all sending them. It's out of your comfort zone to give toward it. Everybody can't go, you know. But we're sending as if we're going, and our hearts are there. Step out of your comfort zone. I met someone last week who's in a missions field and is back here. You think differently when it happens. God's trying to give you another kind of experience. And finally, satisfaction, which sounds like comfort. You got what you wanted. I don't need any more. I don't need any more. I'm fine. I'm satisfied. Well, you may not need any more stuff, but you always need something else from God. Satisfaction can be pride in disguise. It may be pride. I got it like that. I don't need no more. I don't need you digging around in my Kool-Aid anymore, God. I'm cool. I got it together. You about to fall apart. You are getting ready to fall apart. And quickly, here's some more, but we're going to expand on them. Here's some of us are stuck because we never have enough. And I just said one thing, but I'm saying another one. You just can't get enough. You just keep on doing something a certain way because you just want more and more. Some people are stuck on drugs. You want more and more and more. And it's amazing. The more you get, the more you need to get because your body says, you know what? I'm tired of this. You have just depleted the dopamine supply. And there's nothing more in there right now. And you keep trying just to feel normal. And then you keep trying so you just won't be in pain. We have to have a lot of compassion for people who've gotten stuck in that cycle because everyone out here is addicted to something. Everybody out here in this place has something that you wish you could quit. Your sense of your limitations. I'm scared I won't be able to. Man, when they asked me to preach in Savannah at the Martin Luther King, my brain felt it was 1/4 way hanging outside of my head when they asked me, what are you asking me to do? And I couldn't run. I could not run. Destiny was telling me you must. But I don't want, limitations. I just didn't feel like I had enough. Or a lack of confidence. I don't believe I can do it. Guess what, friend? You can't. It is God's confidence anyway. Then you feel that you've lost control. I don't want to do this because I don't really control myself. And finally, you're stuck when you just simply ignore your problems and act like they're really not there. Oh, they're there. Everybody sees them. Now, if you stay in those places long enough, the enemy will, this is hard. Stand up on your feet, folks. If you stay in those places long enough, the enemy will destroy you. He will destroy. He will make your life ineffective where it just does not work. Hear that first 5 right there. We'll expand on them as we go. And can you read this final statement here? It comes up here. Can you read this with me? Go ahead. You cannot stay in those places camped out if you want to experience the glory and power of God in your life.